G'day folks, Mark here. Just doing an unscheduled video, something that I thought I would help with questions we're starting to see, and I presume there's lots and lots of questions around the place in Western Australia. There are people getting texts like this one here, which are talking about voluntary buybacks, and they go through if you go through the details as to, you can go into all the police stations and all things about that. There is also a document like this one here that we got sent as a manufacturer. This is, we're going to dealers and repairers and all that sort of stuff, which goes through and explains about the prices of what they're offering, which are listen, lots of things out of whack with that sort of stuff. The money they're talking about there is probably 1/10, if even that, if for some of the firearms that they're actually got that tied alongside. So it's all out of whack. But what I want to say, there's something to understand very carefully. That is, there is no law changed that the gun limits or gun bans or any laws have changed at this second. There's been a fair bit of talk about it. It did yesterday go across. It was what I think the correct term is the review or the suggestions from the police minister, which are written up with the police minister and the heads of the police department. Their new set of rules that they are suggesting was tabled yesterday. That means that it goes to the parliament for discussions. So what it means is none of it is necessarily going to get through. Ideally, yes, they want to put it all through as it is. But ideally, we don't want pretty much any of it to go through as the West Australian community, certainly of the firearm side of things. And there's a lot of discussion to go with that, but the main thing that I'd like to say is in reference to the people who are asking, why am I getting this text that says there's a voluntary buyback system and I have to give my guns in? No, it doesn't say you have to give your guns in. None of this paperwork refers to the 5-gun limit and that sort of stuff. It isn't what's actually happened. What's actually happened is that the police department has access to $64 million, which they can use as a voluntary buyback scheme. So they've got that amount of money to spend at the prices they're talking about for firearms for people who want to give firearms up. So if you've got dad's firearm or something that isn't worth anything, or it's not wanted, doesn't matter if it's worth anything or not, but you don't want it, there we have always have in Western Australia and all Australia, there is, you can hand firearms in, and a sort of an amnesty thing you can hand in, no questions asked, you want to hand in, it's gone sort of thing. This is with a buyback, so you can get some money for it. That isn't normally the case. That's the difference. Yes, they were lining that up to go with the banning of guns. Well, they're not putting it that way. They're calling it all voluntary. Of course, it's not voluntary when it gets to that place. And there's things that you could certainly point out that it's probably unconstitutional if you make it to where you can't move them overseas or over east. You've crashed the market, and then we're only offering you $400 for a $4,000 gun. Yeah, listen, that's probably what you call extortion. But we're not in that place. That's a conversation for down the track, and that's part of the discussions that are coming. So talk to your local member, whether you're looking at getting together with other groups and standing out there and doing the peaceful protest thing. Whatever you're doing, then this is when it really happens. It went to Parliament on the 20th, so yesterday I think that was, and all this stuff started to happen coincidentally right then. And yes, I'm sure there's a lot of people that will tell you that that's all malicious or with intent to cause people fear to just hand in firearms that they didn't need to. Listen, yes, that's possible. It certainly has that sort of timing to it. Then again, I'd also tell you of the general side of paperwork and the stuff we get from the police department. Generally, it gets amended 1, 2 or 3 times in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks when they figure out all the mistakes they made and that sort of stuff. So it is a government bureaucracy. It has all the foibles of that thing. I'm not going into any whether it was by intent and creating that sort of stuff. It certainly has that smell when it happens on the same day. But for you who's wondering why have I got this, everybody's got this. They would ideally have everyone hand in their guns voluntarily, and that makes it easy. And then that's the political side of it. That's a tick. Look at all the firearms we got off the streets. Is that side of it? But no, there is no law to do this. It's not something to be concerned about. If you are, then get into writing the letter to your minister, write to your local member, be involved with groups talking about what you don't want to happen. I will put a link to the full paper that has been put forward by Papalia, the police minister. Like I said, this was him come together with the police department. Some of those people now have got different jobs and all that sort of stuff, but that was put forward by them. But this is just their suggestion. Really, this is the place to where hopefully the other bodies can get involved and they can shape that document into something that actually makes sense for everyone. That would be the ideal thing. And lots of things we can talk about there, well past where they're going, into things that would make things better and more sensible, which we could certainly do in some places. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about don't panic. It's just simply a offer out there. If it does suit you, then okay, go for it. That's, absolutely, there is some money. If it's good money on stuff you bought and you want that, or it gets it, rather than just giving up firearm, you get some money back for it, then let's for sure, take it with both hands. But don't be thinking it's something that's compelling you to do anything. It is just an offer. There is no law attached to it. Anyway, guys, I hope that makes some sense. I'll be on my normal stuff. I'll have a video out on Saturday morning. But I just thought I'd better do this one, even with a scruffy face after a day's work. I just wanted to help people with that question. Well, guys, thanks for checking in. I'll catch you next time.